Welcome to another episode of Mental Tough Zone. Subscribe now so you never miss out on any of our latest uploads. Let's get into the video. Your mental health is a priority. Therefore, it is important to pay attention to the things that affect it. Given that we as human beings are social by nature, it is not surprising that our human relationships are closely linked to overall happiness and mental health. In fact, one study found that the overall quality of social relationships is a strong risk factor for major depression. So, toxic people and relationships are one of the important things that can affect your mental health. How do you describe something or someone that is toxic? A toxic person or relationship is usually defined as someone who feels uncooperative, misunderstood, disrespectful, or aggressive. A toxic person or relationship will often make you feel bad about yourself in general or about yourself. On the other hand, a healthy relationship will make you feel better, more secure, and happier overall. Toxic people can make you feel inferior, deprive you of energy and impair your ability to form new long-term bonds. But how do you spot the signs of a toxic relationship? The most obvious are verbal abuse, physical aggression, reluctance to set boundaries, emotional abuse, and a general lack of support. However, the signs may be less obvious. For example, negative relationships can make you feel like you are under constant stress. Whenever you are with a poisonous person, you may feel that you are walking on eggshells. It is not fun to be in a toxic relationship because your energy is being drained instead of being refueled. How toxic relationships affect mental health. So, because we've all experienced 1 or 2, or 10, toxic relationships, today we're delving deeper into how toxic relationships affect mental health. In addition, we will give you tips on how to move forward from these negative relationships. Toxic relationships can isolate you from other more empowering and supportive relationships. When you are constantly in a negative environment, suffering from stress and emotional abuse, you may build a wall between yourself and everyone else. There may be times when being in a toxic relationship makes you too anxious to spend time with others. Toxic relationships take up a lot of mental space, which is a limited resource. If you feel terrible, you will not be in a position to protect and invest time in your existing bonds. This loneliness actually spoils everything. Losing contact with others can lead to more anxiety and loneliness. Negativity becomes part of your everyday life. Toxicity sends your brain into a negative spiral. This negative energy is difficult to eliminate and can affect you throughout the day. Being in a negative state of mind will make you look at the world from a more negative point of view. You are also constantly exposing yourself to negative headspace trauma. You may experience lower self-esteem. A toxic person might put you, your actions and your feelings down constantly. Eventually you can start putting yourself down. Being treated poorly leads to a poor relationship with yourself. And suddenly you may experience less confidence in your abilities, your dreams, and your instincts. Inner strength is important to cultivate and protect. If toxic relationships put your inner strength and security at risk, it's time to let go of the relationship. Negative relationships can lead to or worsen anxiety and stress disorders. Toxic associations create mental strain and stress. Our emotions and nervous systems can only handle so much. A study found that toxic relationships increased anxiety and stress disorders, while healthy relationships decreased anxiety and stress disorders. It's crucial to spot the early signs and symptoms of toxic relationships related to anxiety and stress. You neglect self-care practices. Toxicity and negativity feed off each other. Negative emotions are capable of tearing down your more healthy habits. If you feel bad because of a toxic person in your life, you might stop taking proper care of yourself. This includes neglecting your self-care routine, sleep habits, workout schedule, or even personal hygiene. We all can relate to the girl eating a pint of Rocky Road ice cream in sweatpants from yesterday after a rough breakup. Proper sleep, an exercise routine, and healthy diet all impact your mental health and overall wellness. Knowing how to cope and practice self-care is key when dealing with negative relationships and emotional abuse. How to deal with toxic relationships. 1. Accept the situation and seek help. First, practice self-awareness and discernment. What are the signs you're in a toxic relationship? How does that toxic person make you feel? Could your behavior also be engaged in a toxic pattern? These are the questions you should ask yourself in order to fully accept the situation. Once you are able to recognize you are stuck in a negative relationship, it is time to seek help. Start by looking for support from your family members, your friends, your confidants. Also, consider going to therapy to get help with processing the trauma and emotional abuse you went through. 2. Tell the other party in the toxic relationship how you feel. If you notice a negative shift in a relationship towards toxicity, voice your concerns with your partner immediately. This is the only way to work things out. Speak your truth in a respectful and calm manner, explaining what behaviors are hurting you. Don't attack the other person. You are trying to reverse toxic relationships, not get caught up in a negative dynamic. If the toxic person is your current partner, think about attending couples therapy. Assess the situation and act accordingly. 3. Set boundaries. Both for toxic people and yourself. Boundaries are key to protecting your mental health. That's why it's so important to know how to set them. They set the stage for mutual respect and honest communication. By establishing boundaries with a toxic person, you are setting a strict limit for their behavior. Draw the line between what you will tolerate and what you won't let pass. But also set boundaries for yourself. If you've decided not to have any more contact with a toxic person, respect your own limits and don't be tempted to resume your relationship with them. 4. Forgive, learn, and grow. Holding grudges doesn't feel good and will only hurt you even further. Hate and resentment will catapult more negative emotions and transform you into a very bitterness. The best plan of action is to forgive and let go of that toxic person. Make amends with the past trauma. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget what happened or try to bury it deep down. Allow yourself to mourn the relationship, reflect, and look at it as a lesson for how relationships can become unhealthy. 5. Look for stress reduction practices. Handling toxic relationships takes a toll on your mental health. So, it's important to have a solid self-care routine with stress reduction practices in it. 6. Be ready to walk away from the situation. Sometimes things just don't work out, no matter how hard we try. We have to recognize when we might be fighting for a lost cause and find a way out. It can be emotional and lead to severe guilt. But in the end, you will look back and thank yourself for breaking free of a toxic relationship. It only gets better from there. And with that, we've reached the end of this video all about what toxic and unhealthy relationships do to your mental health. For amazing once-in-a-lifetime offers, click the links in the description. Are you in a toxic relationship? If so, let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and to subscribe to our channel for more content just like this.